Oh, this wine is exquisite. Hi gang, Jeff Stone here with day 29 of the year 2016 at MagicReview.com. We're looking at Exquisite. What? He's got two of them? What? He's got two of them? Yes, he does. Why does Jeff have two? Because the first one was defective. I think. Because, that's a long story, but I kept testing it out, and I can't really tell you how the gimmick works, but the effect is floating wine glass. We'll talk more in depth, trust me, about that in a moment. But the way the gimmick works, it very easily attaches and detaches to the glass. It's very, very easily. But what was happening when I was operating the gimmick, part of the gimmick would bump into the glass and disconnect the glass, and therefore we had the gravity glass trick or the shattered glass trick. So I didn't realize what was happening until I actually saw the gimmick bumping it, and then I realized, okay, this is not normal, because in the video, the training video, that doesn't happen. So I contacted Michael Amar directly. He's the one who produced this with Dirk Losander. And he said that they did have a bad run, a batch of gimmicks that were not very good, and so he was going to send me another one. Well, he also told me, though, here's how to fix the broken one, if you wanted to do that. So I'm going to just fix the broken one and keep that for myself, and I'm going to give you guys the one that he gave me, the new one. The odd thing is, putting them side by side, I can't tell the difference. And as it turns out, part of the problem was the glasses I was using. Because if you use that type of glass, you'll still have this problem with the new gimmick. But I'm going to show you a whole bunch of glasses. I went to the DI, which stands for Deseret Industries. That's the Utah version of the Salvation Army. We have Salvation Armies too, but there's a lot more DIs around. I bought a whole bunch of glasses. I tested them all. We're going to go over all that. But let's get some of the other details out of the way first. So in the box is the gimmick, which I cannot show you, and then a little sheet of instructions. It's in full color. It's like 4 pages. It's like a big sheet that's folded in half, so you end up with 4 8.5 by 11 sized sheets of color instruction. The instruction, they're good. They're kind of technical, but there's something weird. The gimmick is shaped in a funny way that when you look at a picture of it, if you've seen those that illusion where it's a book and the illusion is which way is the book open? Is it open this way or is it open this way? That's it's weird. Like when you look at this in the picture, it's hard to see the orientation of it. And I talked a little bit about this in the written review. When I watched the video, however, it became more clear. And it takes a little while. You might have to watch the video twice to fully understand how to handle and operate the gimmick. But once you get it, it's a little knacky, but once you get it, you got it. And you're done. So what's the effect? Floating wine glass underneath a handkerchief. It looks very much, if you've ever seen Losander's floating table, it looks very much like a little mini table floating around. And he has all the same moves you can do, where you can let the spectator lift up the cloth and look underneath. So you can, it's just any wine glass for the most part, we'll talk about that in a minute, sitting on the table. You can just pick up this the dinner napkin and cover the wine glass. And then while the wine glass is covered, you can see it kind of slide on the table a little bit. It was kind of cool. And then it slowly lifts up. And then you can do all the, zombie kind of things where it's going out and you're sort of following it or whatever. And they give some really good tips about animation, which it's not the first time I've heard these, but if you're new to animation, these are really good tips. And I can just tell you what they are. Tip number 1, when the object moves, your hands should not move. And tip number 2, when your hands move, the object should not move. And this gimmick is perfectly designed for that. It gives a great illusion. And so you can have the glass the glass will be floating. By the way, I've found that anytime I show something clear or like a glass or plastic on the screen, because you can see through it and see the green screen through it, you get a weird effect when looking at this glass. So sorry, these may not look as nice as they really are. Although I did buy them all yesterday or earlier today or whatever for like 50 to 75 cents at the DI, and so they haven't been washed. So maybe they are just as weird looking as they appear. There's my price tag on there, 75 cents. Anyway, so you can have like this moment where the glass is here, and I'm going to hold it with my hand, and but you'd have, of course, both hands on either side of it holding the handkerchief, but the glass would be here, and then you can move your hand up and down, and both hands, and the glass would just sit there. And then in other times, you're sitting here holding your hand steady, and the glass goes up and down. And there's a really good range of motion that you get with this. Oh, we almost had a glass accident. A glassident. Okay, so effect, floating glass, wine glass. Method, special gimmick that comes in the box and a dinner napkin. The gimmick is small enough that it's portable. I mean, it's not, well, let me just see. It is about, it's about as long as my water bottle here. But it's a little funny shaped, but and it's not going to fit in like your front pocket. It actually fits in my back pocket with one little piece of it sticking out, so it's very convenient to grab it. But what they recommend is just put it in a napkin and have the dinner napkin in your pocket, or if you're sitting at the table, just reach into your pocket at the right moment and then put it in your lap, and then when it's time to do the effect, you just load it underneath the dinner napkin. It's very convenient, and it's not impromptu per se, but if you have it on you, then it's effectively an impromptu floating wine glass. So that's effect method. Product quality. This is where they really shine because, first of all, it is very well made, and this thing will last forever, and it's got a nice coating on it, and it's just very, very well made. But the fact that they gave me a new one when they just took it as if I were a customer. I didn't really talk too much about the review side of things. And I've got a quick story to tell you about that. I recently bought a product for my own use, not having nothing to do with Michael Amar. But it ties into this. And it was a Magic product, and it was a Peak wallet. And within the first few hours of using it, it ripped. And so the friend of mine who actually got it, he's got an account with the people who sell it. He got it for me. He told them that it ripped, and they said, okay, we'll get him another one. And he mentioned my name. My friend mentioned my name. And the guys over there said, the Jeff Stone, the review guy. Holy crap. Let him know we are so sorry. Make sure we'll rush this right up to him. They bent over backwards to get me a new one because they were freaked out that I was going to give them a bad review. You know what that means, guys? That means we're having an effect out there. We are impacting the Magic industry. So thank you for being a part of that. Anyway, so Michael Amar, he wasn't really, I mean, he knows I'm a reviewer. We've met once. He lectured out here, but I don't think that he really knew I was reviewing this. I think I might have mentioned it, though. But anyway, the fact that they were willing to give me another one and even tell me how to fix my current one and even let me know that I was using the wrong kind of glass, and that might have been the problem all along, and then they still sent me another one. That's customer service, guys, and that is huge. And it wasn't like the gimmick was bad. I mean, that the gimmick itself conceptually is bad. It's just I had a bad version of the gimmick. Maybe not. So that's where they really shine. The only thing that I gave it a product quality hit for, and I typically don't like to say, well, they should have done this, because it didn't include this. Then I don't necessarily like to hit that, but in this particular case, I think it's appropriate. They recommended practicing with an acrylic wine glass before using real wine glasses. That way you don't have to worry about them dropping. So I was practicing with plastic cups on my my close-up mat, and then I started using glasses and I dropped them. Luckily, they just hit my close-up mat and I was very close to the table. But one of the things, so I went and looked online for shatterproof wine glasses. They're $4 just to buy one, retail, full retail price. So I imagine if they bought in bulk, they could have got a pretty decent price for those, maybe $1, maybe $2. They could have easily included that. It probably would have even fit in this box. It would have been easy to include that. And the benefit of that isn't, you would never use the glass they include in performance, but it would be an acrylic glass to practice with, and it would be the right kind of glass. They would make sure they supplied you with the right kind of glass, so you wouldn't have the problem I was having, which was using the wrong kind of glass. And finally, in the video, they could use, theoretically, the same glass that they supplied us, and so that they can show us exactly how to use it on this very glass, so we could they can experience the problems we might have and help troubleshoot and say, look, with this glass, here's what might happen and here's how you handle it. I think that would have added huge value to the thing. They could have charged $10 or $15 more for that, in my opinion. Right now it's $85, I think. Double check over at magicreview.com, but I think it's $85. And so that's what you're getting. That's the product quality, top notch, man. Really, really good. So effect, method, ad copy, product quality, all good, glowing reviews. So the question now becomes, what kind of glasses can you use? I'm going to show you a whole bunch of glasses here, guys, okay? First one, this is kind of your standard kind of, some of these have the price tag still on them. This one has it on the bottom. This kind of glass right here is perfect. And it has to do with the glass tapering down like this, okay? Where it's the same circumference, and then the circumference gets smaller as you get down. And it doesn't have to be a huge taper. As you can see, that's not a huge taper there. So this kind of glass is perfect. Here's a similar one. Same kind of thing, where it tapers down. This one, and all of these that I'm showing you, I've tested it. These work great. They're perfect. But we also have this, where it tapers the other way. So, and again, I don't know how hard this is to see. Maybe I'll leave the green screen, not the background. I don't know. Anyway, so the circumference is smaller at the top and gets a little wider at the bottom. Even that is fine, as long as it doesn't like flare way out. Okay. Speaking of flare, that's one of the problems that you'll be dealing with. I'll talk about that in a minute. But like even this one, okay. So this is a similar kind to this, where the top is smaller diameter than the middle. Even this is fine, the way this is made, because it still tapers off down at the bottom. Okay, as long as it tapers off down at the bottom, you're good. The Gimmick won't even touch it. The problem is the Gimmick was bumping into the glass right here, or I'll show you on the glass I was having a problem with. In fact, I'll show you that now. So this glass will not work. Even with my new Gimmick, it will not work, because it doesn't taper at the bottom. Okay, so it tapers here. It's flares, right? But see how the bottom, it doesn't taper. Like even this big wide glass, it tapers at the bottom. You see that? So that's what you're looking for. Any glass that tapers like this, which almost every wine glass does. Okay, so same here. I got this one here. It's got the same problem. It does not taper at the bottom. That is a big problem. All right. The Gimmick will bump right into that, and it'll dislodge the cup from the Gimmick, and then it's the gravity trick. So this one works because it tapers. See pattern here? Well, that's weird. The bottom here, even though the bottom stem's a little weird and everything, but even this one still works. And then this one, Anniversary Inn. Oh, that's a really cool bed and breakfast right here in Utah. Anyway, this taper, this kind works. These two different ones here, they're kind of the same because they both taper. Now notice the one on this side, it tapers a lot more than this one, but they still work. Okay. couple more here. Here's more of, again, a standard kind of a wine glass. And the Michael Amar in his email said to use just a regular red wine glass. And I know he didn't mean a red wine glass. He meant a red wine glass. I just didn't know that you had different glasses for the kind of wine you're drinking. I'm an idiot when it comes to that stuff. So, anyway, taper. Nice taper. This will work just fine. And then here, again, this is a very standard one, right? And this is perfect. Exactly. It's because it's got a nice, again, compare it to the one that doesn't work. Okay? See the difference there? This one does not have a taper. This one does. All right? And then last, it'll even work on a glass like this. I don't know if you can see that, if that's clear enough on camera there, but there's a good taper. However, will not work with this because it tapers, it flares at the bottom. It gets a little bit wider, and the Gimmick will bump into that. Okay, but that works just fine. I tested both of these, and this works fine. This not so much. So, yeah, nobody did a review like that on this product. That's right, magicreviewed.com. So this is now your official resource when you get your Exquisite Gimmick to come back here and look at all the glasses and see which kinds work. So you don't have to go out and do the research and fail and break glasses. But the real key, I could just, by showing you two glasses here, is you want a taper, not a flare. If it does not taper at the bottom like this one does not taper, then you don't want to use this one. Use this. Amen. The end. So, that's it for this one, guys. 4.5 stars. Stone status a gem. And the only reason for the 0.5 docking was because I did, and this is one that would be like 4.75, really. Maybe 4.8, 4.9. But again, I haven't set my system up to do that yet. But the only reason for the small hit is because I really think that including a wine glass with better instructions about what kind to use would have been much more helpful. But I figured it out. I've done the work for you. The Gimmick's great. It does what it's supposed to do. Solid product. 4.5 stars, Stone status a gem. You're probably wondering, how do you win this Exquisite Gimmick? I don't know yet. So be watching for maybe another video or a Facebook contest or something, and I'll be giving it away soon. So, now it's time for you to push that button, like this video, and listen, hark to the random iTunes song of the moment. And I'm talking to you, Jay. You know who you are. Listen, Jay. Speaking of Jay, this is Jam Master Jay by Run DMC. I promise that was a coincidence. I'm a big Run DMC fan. It was back when rap was cool. Now, not a fan. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. Tune in tomorrow, day 30, where we be looking at Extortion by Patrick Kuhn and Sans Minds. Yep, just reviewed a Sans Minds product. How do you like me now? Until then, folks, thanks, as always, for watching. And I know I say that at the end of every video, but I mean it at the end of every video and all the videos in between and all the time that's not on a video in between. I really mean it. Thank you for watching. You guys are what makes this possible, that we can have an impact on a company that freaked out because my wallet ripped. I love that. Anyway, tune in tomorrow, guys, for Extortion. Thanks for watching. See, I said it again. Peace out.